Hello, bonjour, здравствуйте, assalamu alaikum, guten tag, ni hao, konnichiwa, hola. Big warm welcome back to the Knitters Party podcast, the Crafters Party podcast, whatever this little channel is called mine. It has been about 6 months since my last podcast, but I promise I haven't stopped thinking about it. I haven't stopped knitting, and I'm back today to show you what I've been working on and all my new acquisitions. My name is Megan. You can find me everywhere on Ravelry, Instagram, Untapped if you're a beer drinker. You can always find me as Meg311yo. Definitely follow the show, follow me on Instagram especially. That's where I'm the most active and where you can find me drinking beer, knitting, doing all those good things. And so yeah, welcome back. I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. It's been about 6 months, like I mentioned, since my last podcast. I've been getting back to real life, I guess, living abroad for 2 years between my parents' house, London, Egypt. Coming back to San Diego was really jarring, to be honest. And so, I've just been focusing on my career, focusing on getting back to normal, picking up old friendships, making new friends, things like that. And just really haven't found the time or the space to podcast. I'm coming to you from San Diego, California. This is my lovely apartment. The last podcast episode 6 months ago was from a different sort of location in my apartment. And I just didn't like the lighting. I didn't like how it was working out. I also didn't like how my phone was filming, and so this new setup here is on my computer. Definitely give me some feedback if you have any problems hearing or if things are not clear. Definitely let me know what you think about it, and I can, make adjustments for possibly the next podcast. Okay, today we've got a full episode. I have been knitting and crocheting a lot, but that said, I've given most of it away, so sorry, you'll have to follow me on Ravelry if you really want to see all of my projects and all of my finished objects. But I'll show you a couple things that I've got here today, definitely some works in progress, and maybe even a few acquisitions. I've got bags and bags of yarn here. No more yarn. I'm on a yarn diet. I'm on an everything diet. I can't buy any more crafts or beer for that matter. I can't do anything more. I've just been living this life of excess and lavish self-help, I guess. What do we call it? Self-care. There we go. I've been caring for myself a lot lately. I've just been drinking all the beer. I've been knitting all the things. I've been, focusing on myself and on my job, which I really like. Anyway, let's get into the podcast, shall we? Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're as excited as I am. It's been a long time. I feel a little bit nervous doing this, so bear with me, and I hope that we can do it. So let's start off with some finished objects. My latest finished objects, most of them have gone to my coworkers. Here in San Diego, we've been having a cold and wet winter. It normally doesn't rain that much. We have a rainy season, i.e. winter, here in San Diego, but normally it doesn't rain as much as it has been. So it's been freezing. The office has been very cold. I work at a language school here in San Diego, working with international students. As always, I am actually the academic director of this language school. And so I not only do a bit of teaching here and there, but I'm also sort of responsible for day-to-day tasks at the job. It's crazy. And one of those is that, we've got classrooms filled with 20 to 30 students. It gets hot in there. And so we turn on the air conditioner in the classrooms, but that means that the office has always been freezing. And so all of us coworkers were cold, and so I've knit 3 pair of hand warmers for my colleagues lately. And that has been nice. I've actually just purchased random yarn, either using some acrylic yarn from Stash, most of it like Knit Picks, Brava. That's my go-to worsted weight, acrylic yarn. One of them I did buy a skein of Karen Simply Soft just at my local Michael's. And so I've just been knitting a couple of acrylic hand warmers. I knit 3 pair for my colleagues, 2 women, 1 man, and I think they all really liked them. I've seen 2 of them wearing them around the office, and so I hope that means that they like them. The other one, the guy, I don't know, maybe he's reluctant to wear a hand knit thing, but he hasn't worn them around the office. That's okay. I think it's fine. You know, I'm not worried about it. So those are my most recent finished objects, but I did finish these socks that you might recognize from the last podcast. These are the Oktoberfest Salkin by Susan Dietrich. I knew her last name was Dietrich, I just didn't remember her first name. I finished these in January. According to Ravelry, it was January 5th, and I have not yet blocked them, and so I feel a little guilty. These are for my mother-in-law. They're knit out of Malabrigo sock yarn, and I don't remember the colorway. All the information's on Ravelry. Maybe I'll link it below, maybe not. But these socks are really lovely, beautiful, sort of, I don't want to call it a Celtic braid because this is actually more like German style, but a really lovely cable down the whole foot of the sock. And so I have right sock, left sock. They're like matching, you know, and so one cable goes down the right, one cable goes down the left. And so, yeah, they're really nice. I did an Eye of Partridge heel. And so, Connie, if you're watching, these socks are done. They're for you. She's seen them before. They're going to go in the mail once I finally decide what else to make with the rest of the yarn. This is a like 2x2 rib, so they're ultra stretchy. They should fit nice and snugly, but I don't want to wash these until I'm ready to send them out, because once you wash them, I don't know, I feel like they're like done at that point, and so I'm not quite ready to give them away to her just yet, and so they're going to sit in my collection for just a little while longer. I'm not sure if the color is coming up true on your screens or not. It's really like a green rather than a teal. This, at least when I'm looking at it, makes it look really teal, but the color is a nice sort of seafoam green. And of course it is Malabrigo, so there's lots of variation, subtle variation in there. This was a really nice sock to knit, and so I've had a lot of fun knitting it. It was great, and so they took me forever to knit, sorry. But they're done, and so eventually I'll be sending them out, probably just in time for spring when you don't need warm hand knit socks. Sorry, Mom. So in addition to those Oktoberfest Salkin, I actually have two more finished objects to show you, one of which I finished a long time ago. Forgive me if this was on my last episode, but I finished my Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder, and this is knit out of two yarns. You can see that I've been wearing these quite regularly. This is knit out of Malabrigo sock in their colorway Wales Road, and this is Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock in the colorway Grape Jelly. And I made these quite long because I just wanted to use up all the rest of this blue yarn that I had, but I've been wearing these pretty much to death. They're really comfortable. I like them a lot. They've been keeping me warm. The only thing is that I realized when I make socks, maybe it's like I just have really sensitive feet. I don't know. I may be a princess about this, but the little pearl bumps on the inside of the sock really irritate my feet, and so I can't wear these out, and so I only wear them at home. And so these are essentially house socks, which when we go to our works in progress, remind me to circle on back to this moment, because I found a better way to knit the sole of the foot so that it doesn't irritate your feet. And so we're going to give that a try, and hopefully it'll work out better. So these are Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder. They're the really long kind, and I've been wearing them for 3 months. So they are done. And they are in my sock drawer, which is surprisingly getting fuller and fuller with hand knit socks. And so I'm really excited about that. Okay, my last finished object is the one that I'm most excited about, most proud of. And this was a Christmas gift to my husband, slash to me. It's really to myself. Sorry, I just dropped it on the floor. This was a Christmas gift, and I'm sure if you're a longtime viewer of this podcast, you know that I love amigurumi. I love making little stuffed animals, and in 2013, I went through a period where I just made all the patterns myself, and so I have 14 knitted penguins. This little guy is joining the ranks. I'll just introduce him now. Meet Jingles. Oh, this isn't Jingles. Meet Seamus Lucky O'Flanagan. He is my Leprechaun Penguin. He's got a little bit of a wonky eye, but that's what makes him him. He is super sparkly, made of gold. He's got a little top hat there, like the Irish folk do, and he is the newest penguin in our 14 penguin army. I'm building an army of knitted penguins, so Donald Trump, I'm coming for you. Me and my knitted penguins are coming for you. Hi. This little guy has just stolen my heart so quickly. I actually got, the yarn is all scraps that I had from my stash, so don't even ask me about the yarn, especially this gold yarn. I picked this up ages ago at my local Michael's. It's just like a really shiny gold yarn. I'm sure you can find something like it online. All of it's acrylic. The belly is made of cotton, and actually the feet and the belly and the beak are made of cotton. These are just scraps of white and black acrylic yarn I had, and that's the whole penguin right there. So this little guy, Seamus Lucky O'Flanagan, he came about because I saw the colors in my yarn stash. I was like, okay, I see golden, green, and orange. What do I see? I see a penguin. I see a golden penguin with a green top hat. Oh my God, he's a leprechaun one. And so I actually made the little top hat first before I made the rest of the penguin. And so I made his little top hat, and I was like, that's it. He's going to be a leprechaun penguin. And so this is my pattern, Sgt. Pepper's penguin. It's available on Ravelry and on loveKnitting.com. I also have a little Etsy store as well, but you know, whatever, links below. But I made a little leprechaun penguin, and he's got a wonky eye, and he's just so cute. So don't come for his little wonky eye. Don't come for me, guys. He's a member of my 14 penguin army at home. Isn't he so cute? Oh my God. This is probably going to be the title of the episode. Seamus Lucky O'Flanagan, Leprechaun Penguin. Anyway, those are my finished objects. Back to your regularly scheduled programming, right? All right, let's move from finished objects into, let's do works in progress. I have a couple things knitting related to show for works in progress. Oh my God. You know what? We'll do acquisitions first because I've got like a pile of yarn that my pile of yarn is on top of my works in progress. So we're not going chronologically here. We're going to go in order of the pile of yarn next to me here. So bear with me. All right. I've gotten, I would say 10, no, closer to 15 new skeins of yarn since my last podcast, and a majority of those are from my mother-in-law. And so I'm going to show a couple of beautiful skeins first. So this is Cascade Yarns Heritage, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it's a fingering weight yarn. I received this lovely colorway, this red and black, which I will be making for myself a beautiful cowl. And so let me find the name of this cowl because it is the most beautiful sort of thing I've seen in a long time. And my mother-in-law got me these because I asked her to choose a set for herself. And so she will be getting a stained glass cowl by Wendy Johnson. And let me just show you the picture here. You can look at it as well on Ravelry. I will definitely be posting more or less show notes, hopefully. But this cowl, it's a sort of infinity cowl, and it is double knit. And so the inside of it, you can see, has these beautiful, you know, small diamonds. The outside of it has this lovely flower shape in larger diamonds. And so she couldn't choose a colorway for herself, and so she sent 2 different colorways and just said, well, make one for me, make one for you. So this will be the colorway for me. The sun went behind a cloud, and actually I'm getting really true to life color at the moment. True red, true black. I don't love knitting with black, but you know, it's been a couple of years, so maybe I'll make it happen. And I'm excited to have a cowl for myself that is absolutely stunning. So just look at that. I have 3 skeins of black, 2 skeins of red, because it does take 500 grams of yarn. And so this is going to be a very long-term project. but this yarn could not be softer. I really love Cascade yarn, and so this type in particular I've never worked with before, and so I'm really excited. My favorite Cascade yarn is their Cascade Ultra Pima. It's the cotton yarn. I've used it for everything. I've made a sweater, I've made hats, and all sorts of accessories out of it. And so I'm excited to try a new brand of Heritage, or I'm sorry, a new sort of like brand of Cascade in their Heritage type. So we'll give it a try. So those are my colorways. Forgive the crinkle of this Ziploc bag filled with yarn. The colorway that she decided on for herself, because I wasn't going to make that choice for her. The colorway that she decided on for herself, which happens to be two other brands of Cascade, a beautiful eggplant purple and a really lovely sort of leaf, like a pastel leafy green. Those colors are going to be absolutely beautiful together. The plum here is truly a plum purple. It is saturated, it is deep colored. And this is Cascade Heritage sock yarn, 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. And Cascade usually doesn't have colorways. Yeah, this is color 5632. Lovely name, right? And so this color is like a nice plum, and this is superwash merino and nylon. Now this, on the other hand, is their Cascade Heritage Silk, 85% superwash merino and 15% mulberry silk. Again, no exciting colorway, but this is in that lovely sort of leafy green color. And I am so excited because I'm going to be making two stained glass cowls, one for me, one for my mother-in-law. And I think that this is going to be the most beautiful gift I've ever made. And so I'm really excited, but I'm a little intimidated by the project. It looks like a ton of knitting on really small needles. All of these are fingering weight yarns, right? And so we've got her colorway and we've got my colorway. One is not more beautiful than the other. This one I think is going to be really beautiful on her. She looks really nice in this plum color especially. And I love jewel tones. I mean, like, look at what I'm wearing. This shirt is literally like the brightest orange that you can get. And so that really bright red I think is going to look lovely on me as well. So we'll find out. Oh, I can't wait. This stained glass cowl. It's a huge undertaking and it will take me a year to... I'm assuming that's going to be a project that I must knit monogamously, and so it's sort of on the back burner for now because I'm working on a couple of I'm thinking about a couple of deadline projects that I have to start. One that I'm doing currently, one is a whip, one is in the works, but I don't have the time to get going on a huge double knit project, so we'll figure it out. Okay. That is 10 skeins because I've got 3 skeins of purple. I've got 3 skeins of this purple yarn and 2 skeins of this green yarn. And so that's going to be the thing. So I've got 10 skeins of Cascade Heritage to work on 2 projects. 5 skeins of yarn is like a sweater's quantity. How am I going to make a single cowl out of that? If I end up with extra, oh boy. Okay, I could literally make a million different things with these colorways, like all versatile. All of them are versatile, so I'm not worried. Okay, so that's 10 skeins right there that I've just got. I'm not sure if I showed you last time, but I got 3 skeins of yarn from my good friend Will. It's actually our friendiversary on Facebook today. Hi Will! He's from the Budget Knitter podcast. He's really awesome and you guys should all go check him out. He's also the yarn dyer behind 2 yarn companies. This guy's a serious overachiever. The one that was his single solitary yarn company when I met him in Vegas was the Budget Knitter Yarn Co. And so this colorway here is There Is Always Hope. And I absolutely love it. It's like this creamy natural wool. I think this is like 75-25. It doesn't actually say, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's just got these like really lovely speckles of this burnt orange color. And it's so nice. It's really subtle. I'm not sure what to make with them because I have 2 skeins, which is definitely enough for a really lovely shawl. And so I think I'm going to make a shawl, but I don't know which one yet. So if you've got any ideas for a beautiful shawl that would really sort of showcase these lovely burnt orange speckles, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to do something special with this very special yarn from a very special friend. And so I've got 2 skeins of this. I've also got a single skein. Oh my god, I'm literally just like chucking skeins and skeins of like hand-dyed yarn down next to me on the floor. I feel terrible. This is why I'm on a yarn diet, guys, because I can't even like really truly appreciate the yarn I've got. Okay, this other skein, also from the Budget Knitter, but I know that he is currently dyeing this colorway on his more luxurious yarn line, which is the Sparger Yarn Co. Take a look. I'll link his podcast below and maybe also put a link to his website as well. But this colorway is called Fishbowl. And I love this. This is like the most fun colorway. A million different colors in this skein. We've got speckles. We've got just some saturated color all through the skein. And we've got these like lovely bright pop of this orange and pink. I just love it. And it really does remind me of a fishbowl. I mean, like, good, nice colorway name. I could never be a yarn dyer because I am like the least creative when it comes to fancy names. And so something like fishbowl, you can see what's on my mind. Something like fishbowl, I think is a really adorable colorway. And look at that. This is going to make a really special hat. I think I'm going to make a hat with this because I want something bright, like a nice fun pop accessory. I think I can make a hat and a pair of hand warmers with this. And so I'm going to do something special because, again, I've got 3 skeins of yarn from like my best friend Will. So thanks, Will. I'm going to do something special. I just don't know what yet. And we'll see. Hooray. I'm going to pop this here on my countertop. There we go. Nice little pop of pink right there. Okay, and then it was very recently, it was recently Christmas, and it was very recently my birthday. Hey, happy birthday to me. And so I got a couple of other skeins of yarn for those. I had actually totally forgotten that I asked my husband to put together a list of like things I want for Christmas and to coordinate with our families and see, you know, like who's going to buy what. And I had totally forgotten that I had asked for this skein of, ooh, you can see the sparkles. So I love this particular brand, this particular yarn company, because I'm a serious beer fanatic. In fact, since we've been back in San Diego, I've gotten more immersed in beer culture than I ever knew that I would or that I thought I could. And so when I found out that there was a yarn company called the Knitters Brewing Company, of course, I had to get in on that. And so this yarn dyer, all of her yarns are inspired by alcohol, by drinks, specifically by beer. So this beautiful, it's like a marigold sparkly sock yarn. This is called Buttery Nipple. Obviously, it's called Buttery Nipple. Who doesn't love a buttery nipple shot? It's like butterscotch and like vodka or something. It's really sweet, probably get you wasted in no time, but it's adorable. And so this is her Sockaholic Sparks base, which is, here we are, 63% superwash merino, 20% silk, 50% nylon, and 2% polyester glitz. I love that that's a particular, there we are. That's her actual wording, polyester glitz. And this skein is super glittery. I love the colorway. It's really saturated, so it's not a tonal. This is a saturated, you know, yarn. This is all it is. I love it. And I think I'm going to also make hand warmer socks. Socks or hand warmers? I don't know. What do I do with like a single skein of really special sparkly yarn? I don't know. And so I'm going to figure it out. I have all the yarn and I want to knit all the things, but then everything I want to knit, everything that's on my wish list or on my queue in Ravelry, I like need to buy yarn for practically. But I've got a special skein of sparkly yarn named Buttery Nipple. What are you drinking, huh? All right, so this was from my mom and dad for Christmas. So thanks, Mom and Dad. I love it. It's exactly what I wanted. How did you know? So that's one skein. I'm also going to pop these over here. And for my birthday, My birthday was a shit show, but I'm not going to get into that now. I went up to Temecula, but on my way, I stopped at the best yarn store in San Diego County. It is called Yarning for You, and it's in San Marcos, California. And I picked up 2 skeins of very special birthday yarn, and this will be a 2-color shawl. I'm not sure which one yet. I'll have to figure it out. But look at these 2 skeins together. This one here is Olan brand Sock Sport, and this is the colorway No Love Lost. Ooh, that's a good representation. I'm gonna just do this one for now. A million colors, so bright. The base color is really this like marigold yellow, and everything else is just popping on top of it. And this is a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I love superwash. I really don't like felting all of my special hand knits. But this thing is just crazy. I saw this on the, I saw this hanging from the shelf, and I was like, I just have to have that. But I picked up this other skein first. And so this is another very sparkly yarn. Oh no, where's, oh no. Did I lose the label for this one? Uh-oh. Good thing I cataloged all of these on my Ravelry stash before I guess put them onto the podcast, because boy, I did not realize that I didn't have the actual friggin' yarn label for this. So let me check my stash real quick. This is Biscotti Yarns in their colorway Lumos. And let me see if I can get a good picture. I don't know. Well, this is from my Ravelry stash. I guess that's what it is. So it's definitely superwash merino, it is definitely nylon, and it is definitely sparkle. So that's all I can tell you right now. But I'm definitely going to be making a 2-color shawl, and I'm not sure which one. Please leave me your favorite 2-color shawls in the down bar or the little comments or whatever it's called. Send me your favorite. I love mosaic knitting. There we go. I don't like brioche, so don't send me anything brioche because I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do every row twice just because it's 2 colors. And I don't even really love the look of brioche. Sorry about it. I just don't like brioche. Sorry. And so I only have these 2 skeins. I really think I'm going to do a special design by maybe like Lisa Haynes. She has all the best mosaic knitting patterns. But if there's a better pattern that I'm not aware of, please send it to me, because I've been out of the knitting loop for like 6 months. And so if I don't know it, then you can share it with me. So please inform me. I'm not too good to take suggestions, so please send me your best 2-color shawl patterns. I want to use both skeins completely. I don't want to have any left over. This is the year where I knit all of my yarn. This is the year where I knit all of my yarn. I'm not going to be leaving scraps. I don't want to make a sock yarn blanket. I have no intentions of doing anything with the 5 to 10 grams left at the end of a pair of socks. So I'm just going to make my socks extra freaking long. So my last acquisition that I want to show is actually not yarn related. And so this is something that I received from a very special friend of mine from Michigan. So she very recently decided to open her own sort of small business called Pixies, Potions, and Notions. And she makes handmade soaps, handmade bath salts, handmade sort of just like all the pampering things that make you feel really good on a Sunday when you take some time for yourself, you take a bath, whatever. This is what she makes. And she sent me like the nicest care package in the whole world. The stuff I'm going to show you is currently incomplete. This is not the whole care package that we received, but the rest is literally being used like pretty much as we speak. So she sent me a beautiful package. This is my friend Tiffany from Pixies, Potions, and Notions. She also has a podcast, by the way. She's got a crafting podcast. It's called Crafts from the Dark Side. I will also link it down below. But her name is Tiffany. She comes to you from Michigan, and she makes all sorts of exactly this, potions and notions. So she sent me a bunch of beautiful handmade soaps, some of which I will show here. So this one is going to be mine. My husband is currently using one of the soaps that we received. But this is a handmade soap. I don't remember the flavors or anything like that, but there's some really beautiful smells in here. This one smells like vanilla a little bit. Like, she uses just essential oils and really nice stuff. I love that there's a little glitter in here, and her Crafts from the Dark Side podcast shows it better because she sticks a light behind it. You can see through it and really see like all the beautiful herbs and everything that goes into these soaps. So this is one that she sent. She also sent this other soap that this one must be made with something special because it literally is melting in my hand. I'm sitting here like sort of holding these, and this one is literally melting in my hand. This one smells like bergamot or like tea or something. There's also poppy seeds in this particular soap used for a little exfoliation. I'm going to put this one down because it's literally melting in my hand. All of these were wrapped individually in cellophane, but I didn't want to unwrap them all on the podcast because it gets, you know, nobody likes the sound of crinkling plastic, right? She sent me another bar of soap that my husband is currently using. And then she sent this lovely jar of bath salts. And she sent me a beautiful handwritten note, a lovely postcard sort of thing, and this whole basket is called California Sunset. And so these beautiful bath salts smell like citrus and like a little bit of vanilla. Like, I wish I had it with me. It's probably just around here somewhere, but I don't have it on me. And so I'm sorry, Tiffany, that I don't have all the information. But she just friggin' sent me this because she's a good friend and a lovely human and wanted to like send me something lovely. So thank you, Tiffany. Go watch her podcast. Go support her. She is a wonderful, specifically soap maker, but she also makes things like stitch markers, bath salts, basically all the things that make you feel pampered and beautiful. So go support her. I love supporting local makers, whether it's my friend Will Sparger from Sparger Yarn Co. and the Budget Knitter podcast, or it's my friend Tiffany from Crafts from the Dark Side podcast, or her little store, Pixie's Potions and Notions. I do love just supporting local people, small businesses, you know, like Bath and Body Works doesn't need your money. Go to Etsy and buy from these makers. They appreciate it more than a huge corporation that's paying their people nothing, right? And so like, shop consciously and just do what you can. So anyway, thanks again, Tiffany. I can't wait to use this one. This one's going to be the next soap that I use. I literally just bought a giant bar of soap right before I received this package. So I apologize that I'm not going to be using this anytime in the very near future, but this is next up in my queue of soaps, and I love handmade soap. I prefer bars of soap to like body wash because I personally don't like the little like loofah sponges things. I think they're kind of gross. They just like hang from your shower, which is like crawling with germs. I'm also a germaphobe, so don't listen to me. Okay, so that was my finished objects, my acquisitions. Let's talk about works in progress and magazines, shall we? My first work in progress, I've only got a couple here, but they're like giant projects. My first work in progress is a beautiful sock. I am not exactly using a pattern, but I'm using a pattern, if that makes sense. This is just a 64 stitch sock knit on size 1.5 millimeter needles. It's like a size 1, but size 1 comes in 1.5 or 1.75 needles. These are 1.5, I believe. There's something wrong with that statement, but it doesn't matter. And I am making myself a pair of socks. Now this is based off of the Mermaid Scales hand warmers pattern that I made by the designer is Lena Matheson. And so the Mermaid Scales is that pattern right there. And so it's a really easy, stupidly easy pattern. I recommend that you go out and buy her pattern. She's now got 3 patterns made with this stitch, right? And so she's got hand warmers, she's got a hat, and she just came out with another one, like a cowl or something really lovely. Anyway, I decided to turn it into socks. And so Lena Matheson, if you're watching, make some socks and call them like mermaid socks, because who doesn't love mermaids? This is knit out of Malabrigo sock yarn. I don't remember the colorway, but this one is from me. And so I originally had 2 skeins, one of which I made my mother-in-law's Oktoberfest sock in, and these ones I made for myself. And What's different about these socks is that I am making what I learned is called the princess sole. And so the princess sole is where you purl the bottom of your socks so that on the inside of your foot, all of the knit stitches go the right way and so that it doesn't irritate your sensitive feet like I have. And so the bottom of this sock, you can see my toe here is just knit normally. And then from the toe around, I did the, I'm purling. And so this is my princess foot along with my lovely, you know, lovely sock. And these are also going to be really tall socks because this is what's left of my 50 grams. I have a second ball here, which is 50 grams. And so it was a 100-gram skein. I rolled them, I wound them into two 50-gram cakes. And you know, I've got that much left. And so I don't know how much this is, maybe 15 grams left. But these are going to be tall socks. And so I did have to increase up the leg, which is going to be where my calf is. And because this stitch pattern is knit over a 4-stitch repeat, and it's very particular, like the stitch pattern, it kind of follows itself, right? And so I had to increase like 4 in the same place. And so I don't know if you can see it, it's like right here, but I had to increase, yeah, it's right there. I had to increase 4 over 2 rows. And so I basically lifted up the bar between 2 stitches, I knit front back. And so that's a double increase. And then on the next row, I did the same thing. And then I, you know, kept in pattern so that I wouldn't break anything. And so I really love these socks. The colorway is not showing up very well. It's a bunch of beautiful purples, some like dabs of green and blue and like sort of little strands of lighter colors. And so it's highly variegated. It's perfect for this stitch pattern where you sort of like pick up some yarn and then like carry it over, but you can see that it's pretty like varied. That color is just not showing up very well. I really like jewel tones that don't show up on camera extremely well. So anyway, I'm making a pair of socks for myself and that's what I'm doing at my work. And so I've got an hour lunch break every day. I pretty much eat in like 10-15 minutes and then I knit for like 45 minutes, which has been really lovely. And while I knit, occasionally I get to read a magazine. And now the reason I show my Vogue knitting magazine, first of all, shout out to my sister who got me a Vogue knitting subscription for Christmas. Hey, thank you. But inside this magazine, this is the late winter 2019 edition. And in this magazine is a beautiful hat that I just had to cast on immediately. So here we are. There are a bunch of really cool patterns in here, and maybe I'll show a few, but take a look at this beret. Okay, there we go. Look how many cables. Look how many little cables. This is knit in lace weight yarn. This is called the Raspberry Beret, and on Ravelry I found it as like beret number 7 or whatever, but that's only because I'm linking it to there. Vogue Knitting does include the patterns in the back of the book. Obviously I'm not going to share it, but you know, it includes written instructions for every pattern that's found in here. And so I'm following the patterns in the book and I am making this. Okay. I just think it's beautiful. And so I don't need it to be a beret. I want it to be kind of like a slouchy hat. So I am making it, instead of the possum down lace weight yarn that they use, which seems like totally out of reach. There's no way I'm going to be able to like get that. Whatever. I am instead using some cotton fingering weight yarn. This is a skein that I picked up when I was living in Cairo. And so thank you to the man down the road who sold yarn. You were the only place I found that sold real yarn. This is 100% Egyptian cotton. There are no colorways, and this is showing up more blue on camera. This is a true teal color. And so I have started this beret, hang on, let me get all this out of the way. All I've done so far is the brim and just a little bit of the pattern. You can't really see the cables yet, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the cables when it's all done. Because I'm using fingering and not lace weight, I'm sort of worried that the definition, the stitch definition, won't be as good. But I don't have any lace weight yarn that I want to make a beret with, and more importantly, the lace weight they used was super fluffy. It looks like it was going to bloom a lot, and so I just wasn't having it. So instead of 7 repeats of the lace panel, I am doing 5 because I have fingering weight yarn. I'm using bigger needles. I don't want it to be as wide as a beret, and so I'm hoping it's going to work out. You can always block it to make it do what you want, but because this is cotton, it's not going to block out the same way as wool. So I'm sort of just taking a gamble, but I had this extra yarn and I'm just like, let's just try it, you know, like what's wrong with having a beret? And so the pattern is super intricate. I think I've got 190 stitches on the needles. The original pattern calls for like 280 or something. And I'm like, not for a hat. I barely have 280 stitches if I'm making a friggin' like sweater out of fingering weight yarn. There's no way I'm gonna make a hat with that, so sorry, not doing it. But it's still really intricate. There are 5 repeats of the pattern. It uses techniques I've never tried before, and so it's really interesting. It's fun, but frustrating, and so this is something that I do when I have undivided attention. I cannot do this watching Netflix. I cannot do this talking to anybody or really doing anything. I just have to do this and only this. But that said, it's really nice. And so let me see if I can get the designer somehow, because it's owned by like Vogue Knitting, they don't really credit the designers as much. But I want to show you the beret. Mary Tobita. So thank you to Mary Tobita for making a lovely beret. I hope mine comes out as good as hers did. But one of the other things I really loved about this edition is that they had a whole segment called Once Upon a Time, and it was inspired by clothing that fairies would wear. And now I am very interested in witchcraft and paganism, in Wicca, in fairies and magic, and so I just thought this was fantastic. And so I wanted to share just like a few of the things that caught my eye. I love especially this shawl, and so it's beaded. There we go. Here we are. It's a beaded shawl made out of lace weight yarn, and I might knit that. I did not particularly love this, but I thought it was cool. Also beaded, but it's got that funky lapel. What I loved, this whole outfit. Look at her. Her jacket is like leaf petals. Her top is like leaf petals. Her skirt is knit with beads. Look at this. What? It's insane. Just the creativity that the designers took. Obviously, I'm never going to make any of these, but it's so fantastical. Like literally, it's just fantastical. I love these. They also had super cool knit your own cheetah. What? So maybe one day when I'm like an old grandma and want to relive my glory days. No, okay, that's so offensive. I apologize immediately. No, anyone can wear cheetah. I've worn a lot of cheetah. I see older women who wear cheetah. You can wear cheetah whatever age you are. But one day when I want a cheetah print sweater and I can't find one in my size, I'm just going to frickin' knit it, because look at that. Look at those spots. So cool. And so I'm not sure if this is like Vogue Knitting, they're really hit or miss, and for me it's like a huge advertisement. Like the first half of their magazine is like not even good yarns. It's not even yarns that they're advertising. It's like stitch markers, needles, you know, like whatever. And then they've got this showcase of like maybe 15 patterns, and then the whole back of the book is all the patterns actually written out. And so like I don't think Vogue Knitting is a great investment, but they're really on point with a lot of the things that they're doing. And so if you want to pick this up, it's an interesting issue. If you found something that you liked just now, go pick it up. I can usually find this at my local grocery store. It's like $7 or $8, which is a pretty good deal considering that there's probably 15 patterns included. In addition to the fact that you've got, you know, advertisements for Koigu and, you know, shopping guides, whatever. It's a magazine and it's Vogue. You're getting what you know exactly what you're getting. Okay, so as for my last work in progress, this thing is consuming my life. This is what I've been working a lot on. One of my bestest friends in the whole world in Michigan is pregnant. She's having a baby in April. And I was like, I'm making a baby blanket because she's like one of my best friends. I love her to death. So I am making let me just pull it up on Ravelry right now because seriously, this thing is a beast. And I've been working on it for 5 months already, and I'm not even close to being done because I misread the instructions. I am making the Frog Frenzy baby blanket by Markin of the Hat and Eye because she's having a boy. I know this friend is super, she loves like baby things and she loves campy things, and I think she's really going to love this baby blanket. So there are 3 different motifs that you do. There's the frog, there's the lily pad, and then there's just these circles. So I thought you were supposed to do 9 of each for a total of 27. No, you're supposed to do 12 of each for a total of 36 squares. And then you sew them together and then you crochet the border and then you're done. So I made 9 of each, thinking, oh, I'm almost done. And then I got frustrated when I saw the instructions again that said you need 12 of each. So, oh my God, I have a million of these squares. Like, haven't sewn them together yet. All right, let's break this down. So you've got your squares, your circular things, and I've just got these in a variety of colors. Oh my God, this is gonna be nuts. I've got these in a variety of colors. And so I am knitting all of these out of Knit Picks Brava worsted yarn. I'm crocheting all of this. This is a crocheted blanket out of Knit Picks Brava worsted yarn. I've got like 10 colorways here. And so I'm not gonna show them all. You can see everything on my Ravelry page. And so if you're interested, go to my Ravelry and look at it because I've listed all the colorways, I've listed everything, right? And so I've made 9 of these just plain squares. Then you've got your frog motif. And so these frogs are really cute. You crochet the frog first and then you crochet all the background stuff. And what I kind of actually like, at first I didn't love it, but I see it now, like I get it. It has these like holes that are nice. I think it's going to be a breathable blanket. And so I hope that when my friend receives it, that she's going to be like, oh my God, there's holes in this blanket. It's not going to be warm. And then you realize, no, it's for breathability. So I've made a bunch of these frogs. They also have eyes. I have not yet sewn on the eyes. The eyes are just black buttons with white X's to mark the pupils, more or less. And you finish those basically last. And so I've made a bunch of these frogs. But what I thought would be nice and neat, I think my friend is only going to have 1 kid. And so it's just going to be this boy. And so I wanted to do something a little special. And so I made special blocks or special frogs for my girlfriend, the one who's pregnant. A nice purple frog, a little girl frog. I made one for her. I made one for her husband, the father of the baby. And I made one special frog for their son who's going to be born, right? And so I've got this little family unit. And so I'm hoping that she's going to see that these are like, you know, their little family. But I don't know. I mean, and if it's not recognized, that's fine. I don't need her to recognize that this is like her husband, her son. but I thought it was kind of cute. And when you're making 9 of these, and you sort of do them assembly line, and so I did 9 frogs, and then I did 9 backgrounds, and I just like played with the colors. But I wanted these to sort of fit together, and I think they do nicely. And so this one is lined with the same color as her frog. I just like it. So anyway, it might be cheesy, but I love it. And then the last thing I did, I made a bunch of these lily pads. I haven't done the background for these yet, but I've got all these lily pads. And so for these, you crochet the flower first. Oh my God, they're literally falling everywhere. You crochet the flower first, and then you crochet the lily pad, right? And so I have to make the backgrounds for these. And then I have to make 3 more of everything, so that I have 12 of each. Her baby is due, I think April 12th or something. Today is March 9th. I doubt that I'm going to send this in time for the baby. And I feel really bad because her baby shower, I can't attend it because I'm in California. She's in Michigan. I can't take the time off. Her baby shower is coming up in a couple weeks and it's not going to be done by then. And so I'm going to be lucky if this baby blanket is like out to her by the time she has the baby. And so I can either sacrifice size and just send her whatever I've got, or I can be like, hey, you're taking care of a new baby, you don't care about anything for like the first month. Here's a belated baby blanket that's really adorable that I didn't skimp out on. And so I'm thinking the latter is going to be better than the former. But this has been my biggest project. I've been freaking out because I've been making all these motifs. I have to sew them together. I have to crochet a border around the entire blanket. I have to wash it, block it, and send it to Michigan. I mean, I wouldn't change my friendship for the world. She is a fantastic friend. I love her so much. I just wish that I was a little bit faster on this and that I was more disciplined, because I've definitely had weekends where I've got the time to crochet. I just don't, because I can't take the deadline. I can't take the pressure. And so I feel bad, but I can't do it any faster than I'm doing it. And so today, after filming this, I'm probably going to work on it because I do find excitement and happiness crocheting it, but not always. So that's that. Okay, the last thing. That's all my works in progress, by the way. So 2 knit projects, 1 crochet, that's all I'm working on, and that's enough. I've got 1 work project, I've got 1 home project with this blanket, and then whenever I get a chance to do the beret, if I want something more intricate or, you know, like finicky, because the other 2 are really like easy. Crochet is easy, you know, those socks are super easy, and so my beret is the one where I'm like, no, I want something challenging, like something stimulating, right? The last thing I wanted to show is just the Knit Picks catalog. I'm sure all of you get this already, but if you don't, you should, because knitpicks.com is a fantastic website. They've got all types of yarn. They've got acrylic, they've got wool, they've got silk, and everything in between. They've got alpaca, they've got everything at an affordable price. And so I really love just perusing their magazine. It's really well done because all I care about is the yarn, but they released a new yarn called Muse. This is a 100% superwash merino single ply DK weight. Heavy worsted, Aran weight. And look at those colorways. Like, stop it. I'm dying right now. And so I really am excited. I love searching through this catalog. And so if I'm at lunch and I'm just like wanting to look at some yarn porn, what? Like, I just look through this magazine. And so all of their pictures are well taken. Like, everything is lovely. It's just beautiful. And so if you don't get the Knit Picks magazine, or it's their catalog, really, it's not a magazine, but if you don't get the Knit Picks catalog, order a single skein of yarn for like $1.99. Say yes, you want to receive mail from Knit Picks, and they will send this to you every single month. You order one thing, they will send it to you every month, and it is yarn pornography. Just look through it. Like, I got the Vogue knitting magazine because I was like, living in Egypt, wasn't getting any mail. And I was like, oh, I want Vogue knitting because I'll look at patterns. But then really, I have Ravelry. Ravelry is all I need for patterns. And so I was like, I need yarn. I don't need yarn. First and foremost, I do not need yarn, but I like looking at yarn. And so the Knit Picks catalog is my yarn pornography for the month. And so I recommend getting it. They've got some beautiful stuff. Also, if you're in the market for buying yarn, check with your local yarn dyers because they deserve your business before a big company. But if you need like acrylic workhorse yarn, you know, like if you're buying 15 skeins to make a baby blanket, get it from Knit Picks because it's high quality, it doesn't pill, they have super saturated colors, and this skein of worsted weight yarn in the colorway Cornflower, all of their worsted weight Brava yarn, $1.99 for 100 grams of yarn. And I don't have to crawl through my local cesspool of a Michaels, which is terrible. I don't have to go to Joann's, I don't have to spend any gas money. And it's half the price of any yarn you can pick up at those craft stores. And so I love Knit Picks. And again, if you're making a baby blanket, if you're doing whatever, and you just need some yarn now, do it. Because look at how beautiful their catalog is. They've got an eye for this stuff. All right, I have been talking for way too long. I'm tired. I gotta edit this shit, put it online, and then crochet this damn baby blanket. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now, but thank you so much for joining me. If you would like to follow me on the social medias, you can find me Ravelry, Instagram, Untapped as Meg311yo. Don't join my Ravelry group for the podcast. I'm never on there. Sorry about it. But definitely join me on Untapped. Absolutely add me as a friend on Ravelry. If you want to see any of these things in more detail, go to my Ravelry page. That shows you all the colorways, all the yarn names, all the brand, the logos, the labels, the designers, all of it. And so that's going to be your #1 place for everything. Thank you again. I hope to do this more than every 6 months, but we'll see when the next one is. So take care. Ma salama. Bye-bye.